a radio for Shelters by Jesus podcast. And once again, thank you for all of you that are watching, and thank you for all that are subscribed. We just got the figures on where we're at from last month, and it's incredible. They're just shooting up. It's because of you guys doing what you guys are doing. You're liking it, you're watching it. We're getting a lot of time watching. Thank you for doing that for the homeless. And I hope you're getting some enjoyment out of it as well. And one lady said, this has been very informative. I hope it's that too when it comes to the homeless. But this is all about that, and we've had some special guests. I got a real special guest, somebody that's really special to my heart. She's one of our residents. She has been here for a little bit, and I tell you what, guys, she is one pretty girl, but she is more man than a lot of the men. This girl is one tough little lady. But she's battling an illness. We'll get into all of that. But she's here, and we want to hear her story. Her name is Brandy, and she is like fine wine and not brandy. She's a very special girl. So I want to start off with Brandy. First of all, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? What's your past? What's your past like before you came here? What was it like?
I had an interesting, so I was born here in Maine, and I grew up in foster care, and then I was adopted by a family, and I had a hard time bonding, so I ran away when I was 16, and I started work. I have a son, he's 13 now, 6 feet tall.
That's a whole lot of boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you still spank him if he's naughty?
No.
No, okay.
No.
I just figured I'd ask what was that.
He's very emotionally intelligent, so we can talk when he gets out a lot.
Yeah, he's not here at the shelter with you. You want to tell us where he is and what's going on? Because this is a pretty good story about your boy, too, with what you're doing there.
So, he lives with his dad's parents
Yeah.
in Connecticut, and they're wonderful people. I love them, and I couldn't imagine what would happen if they weren't there. His father passed away from cancer. I had a bad experience. I was trying to get into humanitarian work, and was going to go to Mexico and build houses for impoverished people there.
Mexico?
Yeah.
See, I didn't. You guys are hearing the story. I'm hearing this for the first time, so if you catch me being amazed, that's why I am, because I don't know her story. Go ahead.
And I ended up being there, human trafficked for 4 years.
Using human trafficking?
Yeah.
For 4 years?
Yeah.
Really?
So that's why I got back about 2 years ago, and it's been a hard time getting back on my feet.
So how did they get you into human trafficking? How did that all happen?
Well, I think it's because,
if you don't mind saying,
yes, it's a lot. It's just through a false presentation. It was supposed to be Habitat for Humanity, but it wasn't. It wasn't them at all.
It was inhumanity.
Yeah. And,
wow.
Took me a long time to get out of there.
Wow. God bless you. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, I don't really tell.
No,
but it goes into the story of why am I here and why is my son not with me.
Well, I've never asked you why your son wasn't with you, so
Yeah.
I'm learning too with everybody else here. Now, what is your employment when you're working? Because this amazes me. Tell them what you do.
I'm an apprentice in the Iron Workers Union.
Iron Workers Union,
Yeah, Local
yes.
7.
And you work with mostly men, correct?
Yes. Yep. And I outperform, so twice the work for half the credit.
Man's work for a woman's wage? Is that what you saying?
Well, we're unionized, so everyone makes the same as what everyone else makes.
Okay, so you can do twice work, but you ain't gonna get twice the pay?
No.
It don't work that way.
No, I make equal pay.
Yeah. And you have a nickname that you go by. What do you go by? Come on, tell it like it is now.
Yeah, I've been called a lot of things. Mighty Mouse, the Demasculator.
What's the one you told us you're called?
Scrap iron.
Yeah, but what about this one?
Oh, with my onions.
Your onions. Yeah.
Yeah.
She has a bicep that makes me cry. She calls them onions because
they make all the boys cry.
They make the boys cry. I tell you, I did not know what a horrible past you have, but what I want to say on camera before I go any further is this young lady has one of the most upbeat personalities of anyone that's come through here. I did not know what her past was like. I knew she was homeless. I knew that she's an iron worker, uh, but I didn't know any of that. And I'll tell you, for all she's been through, to have the attitude she has, and the monies you make, I know where most of that money goes. Where's your money go?
To my son.
To your son.
Yeah.
And your son is in what?
Yeah,
School?
so he's going to a private school.
Going to private school because mommy works as an iron worker after all you've been through, and you work as an iron worker and send all your money home.
Yep.
I know that.
Yep.
That I knew. I didn't know any of the other stuff. But, and I know you bragged about the folks that have raised him up.
Yeah, they're wonderful. Kathy and Chuck, his father's parents, and he had a wonderful dad too.
Awesome.
Yeah, his dad was wonderful so far as fathers could be. Nowadays, I never had to ask him to try to be there. And when he was with me, there were times that I was low on rent, and Cody said it with no questions. And he was a great dad.
And he passed away with cancer.
Yeah.
How long ago did he die, darling?
So that was about 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
5 years ago. It happened when I was in Mexico, so I unfortunately didn't find out about
Wow.
it until I got back.
Oh my word.
And so that was one of my comforts,
So-
was thinking that he was with his dad.
So you come out of all that horror,
Yeah.
come back home expecting to be with
Well, plus
the
that,
love of your life, and
yeah,
and
everybody thought I was dead too, so it kind of was like a little bit of a walking ghost.
well, I'm sure there wasn't a lot
It
of
was
if it
weird.
was in human trafficking. There's not a lot of contact with back home, right?
Zero,
Zero.
to be exact.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know how. I don't know how you handled it, and you're a brave girl. And the biggest thing is usually when I see people have had such tragedy, usually their attitude, and I'm not picking on them. I mean, I understand what their attitude is like. They're down, they're depressed, they're moping, and you have a lot of stuff you could be moping about. We're going to talk about that in a second, but let me tell you right now, if you want to talk about those kind of people, and you say you're uncomfortable around them or whatever, or they should be kicked out of town, whatever. You meet this lady and you try telling me that. This is probably one of the sweetest kids that I've met. I'd be proud to call her my own daughter, or actually your age, my granddaughter. But I would. Dang, I'm old. You're just a baby. How old are you?
I'm 31.
31, just a baby. And so, anyway, you have some physical problems. You're an iron worker, you're tough.
Yeah.
Around here, you do man's work, and I didn't know you were sick when you was doing it. What are you battling right now?
I have non-Hodgkin's T-cell lymphoblastic lymphoma stage 3.
Stage 3 cancer. And you're in treatments right now.
Yes.
What are your treatments like? I'm sure people would like to know that. What are you going through, kid?
So I receive a regimen called RCHOP 21. It's a 21-day cycle with Rituxan and prednisone. I cannot pronounce the other two that are
That's all right. I probably couldn't understand them if you told me. I don't understand the ones you use, so don't worry about it. Yeah, I'm just a dumb head.
Yeah, I receive stem cells, and until they can get me in a state of remission, I can't receive the spinal fluid transplant, but we're going to work towards that, and we have a donor waiting for me when I get there to that place, and
So what is your status right now? Are you on the upswing?
I'm making improvements.
You are improving.
Yeah, but initially was diagnosed stage 4 terminal.
Stage 4.
Aggressive, yeah.
When was that diagnosed?
2 months ago.
But it turned out not to be stage 4.
It was. I've made improvements.
So you went from stage 4 down to a stage 3. So you must be blowing their minds.
Well, I don't know. They're always, doctors, and I think for their own coverage, they never really try to offer too much hope. you know, in case.
They're going to give you the worst case scenario.
Yeah. But they're very pleased with my emotional stability.
Well, I can believe that because I am shocked. I bet you there's not many people walking around. Somebody just said you got stage 4 cancer, you're terminal, and they would come away with a smile. Like, you got one of the prettiest smiles we have around here, I tell you.
Well, the thing is instead of starting with the things that I, like the negative in my life, I go, let's count everything I have to be positive for. And what I found is that's a never ending list. So if I stick with the positive list and focus on those things, I don't have time to get to the negative.
Wow. Man, that's Philippians when Paul says, think on the good things. And
Whatever is
but
good and true,
you know
righteous and pure, of good repute.
That girl knows, she not only smart and pretty, she knows her Bible. Yeah. So you're a believer.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So how long have you been a believer?
As long as I can remember.
Wow, that long?
Before I knew that I was. Before I knew I was, I did.
So you always believed.
Yeah, I believe, and I was like, I guess in an ignorance, because I didn't know what I believed in, but I did it, and it was full.
So you trusted in God because you had to.
And then I learned about God, and I figured out who
you've been loving all along.
Yeah.
And who's been loving you all
Oh
along.
yeah.
That.
Immensely.
Wow.
Richly blessed.
Well, I just want to say to those that are watching, if you can watch this with a dry eye, you're better than I am. I'm not. This was my first time meeting this girl, I'd be all choked up too. And but the question I want to ask those that are watching there is, what do you think? How should she be treated? Should she be stuck on a street? Should she be put out in the woods somewhere or driven out because she doesn't have a home? Is that how this young lady? Sometimes when I'm on here, one person even said, "You're awful passionate about this." Well, I'll tell you what. If you're not passionate, I'm concerned about you. And if you can listen to this young lady, and you can go, she's homeless. I'm really concerned about you. And for you pastors out there, especially, you know who you all are. That the homeless, you say, the homeless make me uncomfortable. Well, here's a young lady that's been through horrors. And now she's finally in a place where somebody loves her and accepts her. Been through sex trafficking for 4 years. Comes back and finds her husband, or father to her son, is dead. And she's doing all of that. And then would you throw on top of her, hey, she's homeless, so let's just toss her off. She's just one of those kind of people. So if you're watching, go, man, you get a little wild and passionate. Well, yes, I do. And I'm not apologizing for it either, by the way, at all. So, Brandy, wow. What would you say? I've rambled on and I'm known to do that. I get all wound up. But what would you say? And I know how sweet you are, so you're not going to say anything mean like I would. What would you say to folks that say, look, you're just homeless, and you ought to be out in the street, just get by the best you can. What would you say to that?
I would probably just pray. For compassion.
You know what? I know you would. That's the whole thing. See, I'd wanna go up and Seth's dog. He knows what I want.
Well,
what would I want to do, Seth?
Well,
huh?
Put lay hands on people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just do a laying on of hands.
Yes, with my fingers closed, laying the hands. Yeah.
Well, and the real honest thing about it is, none of us really deserve anything, and so you don't have to do anything to inherently just deserve to be cared for. Like, at least the basics, that you're not out and hungry.
So what do you think of this place? Let's bring it to that.
I love it here. I love it here. I've enjoyed becoming part of what goes on here.
She's on our staff, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big Seth, come around here and say something.
Sure.
Yeah, come here. Get with the camera.
Yeah, I've been trying not
Yeah,
to.
I mean, your hands are flying everywhere. Seth is our chief of staff, and so he's here every day, hands on with this young lady, and I'm not as much as he is. So, tell him, what do you think about this young lady and what she does? And tell him the kind of stuff she does.
Purely, Brandy is family. She's not just a resident, she's family. And literally has worked harder than most of the men I have here. She's honorable, she's truthful, she's hardworking, she's been through hell. I don't know a stronger woman other than Brandy. And she's definitely a testimony to what you should be. She's an example to follow. She probably doesn't realize it, but she inspires a lot of people here.
Amen to that.
You speak an unkind word about her and we're going to have problems.
Yes.
That's how I feel about it.
All right.
So.
Sean,
Yes.
come over. You've spent a lot of time working with Brandy, so grab a chair.
Sure.
And this is my podcast, so I can do weird stuff, right? I can do what I want. All right. But this is Sean. He's one of our staff. Actually, we saw him on one of our other podcasts. He's going to be helping with one of the classes. But you've literally spent a lot of time with Brandy because you guys have done work around here.
Ton of work.
Would you describe some of the stuff that she's done with you around here?
Well, I mean, I'm described as the head of maintenance here, right?
Right, that's right. You're the staff, you're the head of staff maintenance.
Right. But genuinely, I can step back knowing when she's around that everything's going to be taken care of because I work as a full-time carpenter outside of this, right?
Yes.
So
Yep.
I'm on work sites and I'm doing a lot of work, and I know that whenever Brandy's here, I don't have anything to worry about. Even when Seth has a hammer in his hand, I know that Brandy will take care of it and make sure that.
Seth,
Doesn't take it away from
That's
Right.
right. That's not a picture I wanted to even see it.
No, but honestly, I'm gonna tell you, I use Brandy's legend around here quite a bit to motivate the men. I'm like, listen, you know a little bit about what's going on with Brandy. Now, can you please man up as much as she does? And there's just so much stuff here. She and I, when we came here, or when she came here, she and I had a bit of a friendship there, and there's that thing when you feel safe.
Yeah, but kinship.
A kinship, yeah. When you feel safe, sometimes you turn on that close person.
Yeah,
And you were
I
ready.
tried to fight.
Yeah, you were like, and but the thing is that I knew at that moment, I was like, I'm gonna be this girl's friend. Like, I like this girl. She's scrappy. Like, she wanted to fight everything because she finally was safe in a place where she.
And it came out.
Right, and I'm just like.
Floodgates.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was excited about that though.
I was scared. I was terrified. That's why I was trying to fight.
I know.
I was like, if I'm hitting someone, I don't have to be scared.
Right. And you know what? I'll tell you this much. It's that fighting spirit that I absolutely love about you. It actually, there are days when I struggle with PTSD and anxiety, right? There are days when I feel like, man, I can't do this today. I'm exhausted. And then I'll hear your voice outside yelling at one of the guys to man up. Hey, if you find a pace anywhere, could you pick it up?
Yeah, I love that one.
I mean,
I love that.
when you said that the first time, I
It's one
about
of my
lost it.
favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have to get going because Brandy's out there kicking butt and taking names. So.
Yeah, not only that, you'll believe this, and I know Seth, he wasn't here at the time, maybe he was, but she was in the office.
Yeah.
And I come in and I go, what are you doing? She says, I just got promoted. I said, promoted to what? She says, I'm in security now because somebody came around and
Tried to mess with
trying
me.
to mess with me. And so she says, I'm here. If he comes around,
Right.
I got this. She says, I'm bringing out the onions, baby. I'm on it. So she says, I'll toss him for you, Pastor. Don't worry anything about it. So, so I hope you're enjoying this podcast, guys, and I hope you understand this lady is something special.
She is.
She is just special. I thank you, Sean,
thank you so much.
and Seth
We love you.
for
Love you
sharing
too.
Yeah, we
for
love you.
sharing your thoughts about this young
Thank
girl. And I just want, I would encourage you, if you're watching this, if you're in our area, And like I've said before, there's so many rumors out there about this place and these kind of people. They really upset me because they don't know these kind of people. I can tell you right now, these kind of people are some of the best people, the strongest people that I have ever met in my entire life. And I would encourage you to come to 12 McClellan Street and check them out. Have a tour. Seth Roberts is our chief of staff, and if he doesn't have time to give you a tour, he'll put a staff member on. Brandy will give you a tour.
I'll
Come meet Brandy, man. She's worth the trip to Skowhegan to talk with this young lady. And so, anyway, if you'd like to support this ministry and help others like Brandy and the others that you've seen to make sure they got a place, this young lady has got a safe place. You feel safe here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, people around you don't feel safe because you'll knock their heads in if they mess with you, but just joking. But if you want to make sure there's a safe place for folks like Brandy and the kids and all of the here, you go on our website, thesheltersbyjesus.com, and you'll see a place where you can make a $9 donation and hit that, or as bigger than those wrong, but $9 will get somebody like this young lady, this beautiful young lady off the street, if you're willing to do that. And there's a lot of people out there. Those of you already doing that, praise God for you. God's blessings upon you for doing that, to make sure there's a place, a safety place for them to run to. I've written 4 books. They're written in Hickanese because I'm a Hick from Skowhegan. But if you could read a little Hickanese, we'd encourage you if you like them. They're free or $10, whichever way you want to go. There's 4 of them. 5th one's on the way, being put together. Right now, we're finished up the endorsements. But to get that, you can put your address on here and say, I'd like to have those books, and my name and address is this. You can send a note to Shelters by Jesus, 12 McClellan Street in Skowhegan, Maine. Mcclellan. Nobody ever knows how to spell it. In Skowhegan. It's Skowhegan. Yeah, it's an Indian name. It says meeting place. So we got a bunch of, we can't use that term Indian anymore, so it's, what is it? Native American. It's a Native American meeting place, whatever. I'm not PC sound, so anyway. But you can send that to us, or you can call our office. 207-474-8833, and let the guys know. Give them your name and address right at the office. And if you want a tour, please give us a call and say, I'm going to come at this time. Could I get a tour? We'll set it right up for you. And thanks again. Please share this as you're watching it, and hit subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And if you're watching it, hit that little like button, because when you do that, now we start getting royalties, because we've got a lot of people now that are watching and subscribing to these podcasts. And also Saturday nights, I have a stream. It streams at 6 o'clock on Saturday nights on YouTube. Same thing with that. And come to my service, 5:30. We have live worship music here at Saturday nights, and then I preach at 6. And you get a chance to meet the folks here, and it's an awesome service. Brandy, would you encourage people to come to our service?
Absolutely.
Am I boring?
Not at all.
I'm not?
Never.
Am I crazy?
No.
Yeah, okay. See how sweet she is? She even lies while we're on camera. So I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing this with somebody else. And y'all come back.